First, let's begin with a question. Consider three students, A, B, and C, who all scored 100 on an exam. Student A scored 100 because the test only had 100 points, making it easy for him to achieve a perfect score. Student B gave his all and managed to score a full 100. Student C, despite facing challenging circumstances at home, had to help his parents and didn't have much time to study. Yet, despite these difficulties, he managed to score well. Who would you choose? Take a moment to think. Let's talk about the two key points of this video first. 1. The crucial factor in talent selection is not current ability but potential. 2. The ideal education is one that never gives up on individuals, providing opportunities consistently. Only through this can everyone fully unleash their potential. After the previous videos, you might have gained some new insights into personal growth we now understand. 1. Intellectual gifts may offer an initial boost, but character determines how far one can go. 2. The most important character trait is proactivity. 3. Harmonious passion accelerates growth. 4. Seeking help is essential when facing adversity. While these principles may sound intuitive, a closer look at our current education system reveals a significant mismatch. If given the chance to design an education system based on the latest scientific understanding of the 21st century, how would you go about it? Certainly, education cannot be divorced from economic and cultural conditions. However, for the sake of discussion, let's indulge in some imaginative thinking, disregarding feasibility and focusing on desirability. What would the ideal education look like? Grant's book provides insights from various research findings to inspire your thoughts. Every school has a unique responsibility to nurture talent. However, the entire education system has another duty: to select talent. This is an unavoidable reality. Even with economic development, scarcity and rankings remains. The top 10 national universities will always be limited to 10. When you ponder on it, selecting and nurturing talent seem contradictory in a certain sense. Selecting one group implies not nurturing another. In an ideal scenario, we should select the most intelligent and capable individuals. Good universities and jobs should not be seen as perks for them but as opportunities. We hope these individuals can conquer cancer, explore the mysteries of the universe, and lead humanity to the stars, rather than obtaining a Ph.D. only to compete for a position as a bank clerk. Grant's book cites a study examining the job performance of 28,000 university graduates in the field of project consulting. Surprisingly, graduating from a prestigious university did not necessarily correlate with higher performance. Whether evaluating work quality or collaborative contributions, a Yale graduate's performance was only 1.9% higher than that of a student from a less renowned institution like Cleveland State University. The same pattern likely extends to other fields. For instance, some of Silicon Valley's most skilled programmers are not necessarily graduates of prestigious universities. This phenomenon could be an inevitable result of the internal competition within higher education. In this age, knowledge and skills are not secrets. All universities belong to the same academic community, and what they teach doesn't differ significantly. The students they produce lack absolute distinctions. You might argue that in the workplace, some individuals exhibit stronger capabilities than others, proving not everyone is the same. Absolutely correct. Research merely indicates that the label, graduate of a prestigious university, is insufficient to gauge real abilities. It does not imply the absence of those abilities. So, what truly reflects one's capabilities? Experience. A meta-analysis involving 44 studies and 11,000 individuals found no correlation between the number of years of work experience on a person's resume and their actual job performance. In Grant's words, those with 20 years of work experience merely repeated the same year of experience 20 times. They did not deliberately practice, and their competence did not increase with age. Both educational qualifications and work experience proved to be relatively meaningless. This poses a challenge as it indicates that the standardized methods for selecting talent are flawed. Whether it's university admissions or corporate hiring, standardized selection methods employ a set of simple indicators to describe an individual's abilities, such as exam scores, alma mater, and years of work experience. Even if these indicators genuinely reflect a person's current level, they may miss the point. According to Grant, What's more crucial is not the current level but potential. Now, back to the initial question of the video. Who would you choose? I believe C's potential is at least as good as E's, maybe even better. Both are undoubtedly better than B. Now, if E didn't put in effort and scored 95, C didn't have time to prepare and scored 90, but B still scored 100, whom do you think the university would choose? Under the current system, they would undoubtedly choose B. However, this is precisely the wrong choice. If the exam questions were more challenging, with higher differentiation, E could fully demonstrate his talent and score higher than B. At least, this way, you could ensure that I is admitted. However, this would be unfair to C because he might come from a remote area, where his school and teachers might not be as good, and he might not have the chance to encounter such difficult questions. The US once experimented with a solution, introducing adversity scores to the SAT in 2019, giving students from low-income families and communities an additional 100 points. This approach immediately sparked controversy and was cancelled within a year. It's evident that this method is challenging to implement and is not entirely fair. Grant's suggestion is not to focus on the final exam scores or the cumulative grades from high school, but to look at the grading of grades. Each student's progress. If a student starts with a lower base, but consistently improves each year, that is true potential, indicating that they will continue to get better. Such students have more potential than those with stable grades. This idea is supported by evidence. An economist, George Bowman, examined the daily grades of all high school students in Florida from 1999 to 2002 and compared them with their incomes a decade later. The results were as follows. 1. Freshman year grades had no impact on future success. 2. Sophomore and junior year grades had predictive value. Each additional GPA point, on a scale of 4, was associated with a 5% increase in income 10 years later. 3. Senior year, American high schools are 4 years, grades were twice as important. 1 GPA point equaled a 10% increase in income. However, the best predictor wasn't the senior year GPA, but whether a student's grades consistently improved over the high school years. Those who consistently improved had the highest incomes later on, indicating that progress signifies untapped potential. While the grading is a good indicator, you can immediately think of students intentionally suppressing their grades in freshman and sophomore years if universities were to emphasize this measure. The reality is that all selection methods have their flaws. Selection inevitably implies elimination. Could we nurture without selecting? Can we continue guiding individuals, regardless of their current performance, with the belief that everyone has the potential to blossom someday? Yes, it's possible. This is how wealthy families treat their children. As mentioned earlier, economist Ross Chetty found that individuals from the top 1% of income families are 10 times more likely to become inventors than those from families below the median income. This isn't just a result of genetic factors. Suppose you have 2 third-grade students, both excelling in math and ranking in the top 5%. This suggests that their intelligence levels are similar. However, Chetty found that the child from the higher income family is more than twice as likely to become an inventor as the child from the lower income family. This disparity is due to the difference in opportunities. As shown in our book, Don't Trust Your Intuition, Chetty's research reveals that children from affluent families are more likely to interact with innovators in their community. The plot in the movie, Oppenheimer, where Oppenheimer attempts to poison his professor with a poisoned apple, is not just a fictional scenario. In reality, Oppenheimer was discovered, faced disciplinary action at the school, and if he came from an ordinary family, he would likely have been expelled. However, his family had influence, and his parents intervened to resolve the matter. This is unfair, but it represents the ideal form of education. Never giving up, consistently providing opportunities. Only through this can everyone fully unleash their potential. The current education system has likely buried numerous students like Student C, with unlimited potential. They could have become the next Oppenheimer. You might ask, what's the use of all this? Is there really an ideal education in the world? Not uncertain. There is at least one country in the world that has been practicing the ideal education for over 30 years. Finland. Starting from the 1970s, especially in the 1990s, Finland implemented a series of radical education reforms. The core assumption of Finnish education is that everyone is teachable, and they aim to not waste a single brain. Today, there is no concept of school districts in Finland. You can get the same good education wherever you go to school. The gap between schools is the smallest in the world. Finland doesn't believe in elimination. If a student falls behind in grades and cannot keep up with the class, the school will find ways to provide individual tutoring, rather than letting the student repeat a grade. Each school has a student support group, including your homeroom teacher, the principal, a psychologist, a social worker, a nurse, and a special education teacher. If a student has learning difficulties, the school intervenes early. If a child of a foreign immigrant cannot speak Finnish, the school arranges a teacher to teach them. All these services are free. Finland not only provides education without discrimination but also tailors it to individual needs. Teachers are well aware of each student's unique characteristics and offer targeted teaching and emotional support. Unlike American teachers, who only teach one grade, Finnish teachers follow students for 6 consecutive years, making it easier to provide continuous personalized assistance. Of course, such teaching demands high-quality teachers. Hence, Finland requires all teachers to have a master's degree from a top university, and they receive high salaries. The most respected profession in Finland is that of a teacher. These teachers simultaneously engage in teaching and explore new ways of education. They are well versed in the latest educational theories. Studies have shown that learning interest and character are much more critical for lower grade students than academic performance. Consequently, Finland incorporates more classroom games and gamified teaching methods in lower grades. Recognizing the importance of initiative and reading time, Finland attracts students to read more by allowing them to choose their own books and write book reviews. As a result, Finland ranks highest in educational attainment among developed countries. Not only does Finland have the highest proportion of students with excellent grades, but it also has the lowest proportion of students with poor grades. Finland's ranking is consistently ranked just only below Asian regions like Shanghai, South Korea, and Singapore in international standardized tests. Moreover, Finnish students have the highest happiness levels. The percentage of Finnish high school students who often feel pain and sadness is significantly lower than in China. This may be related to the minimal amount of homework. Finnish high school students average only 2.9 hours of homework per week, much less than the daily workload of Chinese high school students. Now, you might argue that Finland's success is because it's a wealthy country. Not entirely true. Norway's economic and social development is similar to Finland's, but because it has not carried out educational reforms, its educational performance is far inferior to Finland's. Estonia's economic situation is much worse than Finland's, but by imitating Finland's education reforms, its international test scores have surpassed Finland's recently. We cannot transform into Finland overnight, but Finland provides a possibility.